This channel is about how to win at solitaire. Now, you won't be able to win all the time because solitaire has a significant element of luck in it due to the fact that we are dealing cards which have been randomly shuffled by the software. Now, you can of course play this game with playing cards. That's how it was originally designed. I'm going to be using the screen because it's easy to record and because this is my favorite way of playing it, to be honest. So I'm going to throw in the odd little bit of philosophy to this channel to make it more interesting, I hope. But the main purpose of it is to show you some tips and tricks on how to win more often than not at solitaire. So the version I'm using is the classic Canfield. You can see up here it says Canfield version, which I'm playing on a laptop using Linux. The laptop runs on Linux, Linux Mint to be precise, but that doesn't matter. It will run on any platform, any OS. So let's start with the basics then of this game. Those of you who don't know already, this is the original lay, so we call it a deal in fact. So the deal is the cards have been laid out for us, and this is how you would deal them if you were playing with either this software or if you were using playing cards. There are various versions of solitaire, and later on in the channel I will go into some of the different versions, but this is the clearest, I think, and it's definitely my favorite game. So just to give you a quick overview of the screen, top left hand corner here we've got the shuffled deck, which is face down, and we'll be dealing that deck onto this empty space here as we go in order to get the cards that we can actually use to play. Over on this side we've got four empty rectangles. That's where the aces will go, and we build up each suit from its ace. So we'll have the two red aces and the two black aces in any order as they appear up there. Down below here we've got the deal. So we've got 7 columns of cards which have been dealt face down with the top card face up. So the first column only has 1 card, so that goes face up. The second has 2 cards, so 1 goes down, 1 goes face up. The third has 3 cards, 2 down, 1 face up, and so on to the end, which has 7 cards altogether and the top one face up. So the play is to get the aces out first up the top here on where my cursor is running, and as it happens on this particular deal, completely at random, we've got 2 aces. So I'm actually going to use the cursor for a while because it makes it clear what I'm doing. In this particular case we can just double click on the ace and it pops up to the top, and there's the 2 aces in their position. Now the rest of the game we've got to lay cards on top of each other in alternate colours but numerical order. So for example, here's a 9, black 9 going on to a red 10, and we've also got a black 6 which we can put on a red 7. Now that's really the main things that we're going to be doing in this game, is moving cards so they lay in the correct numerical order in alternate colour sequence. Now there's nothing else we can do there. There's no other cards that can be moved on top of each other, so we're going to deal a card. Oops, I've dealt 2 there. I'll go back 1. We're going to deal a card from the deck. It happens to be a black queen. That can only go on a red king. Now the kings can only be placed in empty spaces along this deal row. We don't have a king available at the moment, and we don't have a space available for a king, so we've got to create space for kings. That's one of our primary objectives as we play, is to make space for kings, because without the kings being on these spaces we can't lay up the full sequence of cards. So we'll deal another card. This time we've got a black 8. We can't do anything with that because we need a red 9. Here we have the 3 of the spades, and we can't do anything with that either. We've got a red 5 here, red 5 of diamonds. We can place that on the 6. Now for this game I'm going to break one of my rules, which is that I don't put out cards that are below 5 in the sequence, and I'll discuss that as we go. There's a reason for this. We'll deal another card. Now the black 10 can go on the red jack, and we're just going to scan now to see if we've got any red 9s, which we don't have. So we're going to play again, and this time we've got a black 5. We haven't got any red 6s out. We can't play that card. We've got a black jack. Now that goes onto a red queen, so we can play that card. Now immediately we have the possibility of putting a red 10 on that black jack. We actually have 2 red 10s here. Now we've got a choice. This is the whole essence of this game, is that it is a decision-making game, and we have to make a decision now as to whether to play this red 10, which creates an empty space, which is valuable for laying out our kings, or we play this red 10, which gives us the possibility of another useful card turning up. So just for the sake of this video, I'm going to play this red 10 and just see what happens. That's given us a king. Now we've got a king up. Now that's valuable because we can actually move that queen onto that king. Okay, the alternative would have been to play that one, which would have created a space, but it wouldn't have exposed the king. Getting the kings out is as important as getting the aces out. So we're going to stay with that play that we made, which was to play the red 10 and expose a king, because we can also play that jack onto that queen. That has in fact created a space. Now when there's a space, we can move any kings that we have down here, we can move into the empty space, which we want to do because that is that becomes the beginning of a full sequence of cards. So now we have a black 4, which we could play onto that red 5, which in fact I'm going to do, because that gives us another space for a king, and hopefully a king will show up soon. Is there anything else we can do? Yes, there is. We could move that 3 onto the 4, and I'm going to do it this time, although I might not necessarily always do it. In fact, my move has been justified because that exposes the 3 of diamonds and the 4 of diamonds. So if the 2 of diamonds should show up, we've got a nice 3-card play there. Right, so let's carry on. We'll turn up another card. We've got a red 5. We can't place that anywhere, so we turn up another card, an 8 of diamonds. A red 8 can go on the black 9. I'm quite happy with that, because we can also move that 7 onto the red 8. Now we've got a 2 of clubs, which we can play onto the ace. Now that's an important start, because that's also exposed our 2 of diamonds, which, as I said, will now result in a 3-card play. And better than that is actually expose the 3 of clubs, so we can play the 3, the 4 and the 5 of clubs, and it's exposed another ace, so we can double click the ace, and that's now in position. It's also, we've got this king now. I tend to move kings to the left. There's no reason to do that particularly other than tidiness, but we can now place that queen on the king, and we have another king, so we'll place that one there. And in fact now, magically, we have all 4 kings out. We also have 3 aces out, and we've hardly turned over any cards yet, so we're in a very good position right now. So what we've got to keep our eye on is to be able to play cards up to this top row, these 4 spaces here, where there's only 1 space left. And as it happens, we can play that 5 of diamonds onto its deck. We haven't got the ace of spades yet, but hopefully that will show up at some point. Is there anything else we can do at this point? Yes, we can. Now then, we could move that 6 onto the 7, the red 6 onto the black 7. I say we could because there's no particular reason to now, because we've got all 4 kings out. Excuse me. Once you've got all 4 kings out, there's no particular need to put that 6 on the 7, because it covers up the 7, and we might need that. We've got the 6 of spades and the 7 of spades out. Now then, there's a question here as to whether we play the 5 onto the 6. We have that option. It doesn't particularly have a function right now. The reason I say that is because if we had one of these other spaces up here, one of these other cards up here, happened to be a black 4, that would give us the option of clearing a space for a king by moving that 5. So I'm actually going to leave that 5 where it is, because we're on the first lay, the first deal, should I say, at the moment. We haven't gone through the cards even one complete time yet. So we've got three deals available to us. In other words, we can go through the sequence of cards in this stack up here up to 3 times, or 3 times in total, in order to complete our game. Now we're actually in quite a strong position here. We've got 3 aces out, we've got 4 kings out, and we've only got 4 cards that are still reversed. So let's carry on playing, and we'll leave that 5 where it is for now. Alright, there's a black 9, that can go on the red 10. There's the final ace. That's nice, because now we've got all 4 aces and all 4 kings. We've exposed the red 5 again. We don't need to play that. We'll carry on with the 4. Now, in fact, see, there is in fact a black 4 following the red 5, so we could have played the red 5 down to there and put the 4 on it, and that would have lined us up for the spade sequence. But we're going to ignore that for now, because we're only on the first deal. So now we've got a 6 of diamonds, which can play directly onto the 5. Now the 7 of diamonds is down here. We actually got a 7 of diamonds within view, so we know where it is. It's currently blocked by the 6 of spades, so we don't worry about that at the moment. We deal again. We've got a jack. We can't play the jack. There's the 2 of hearts. We'll play that. I'm playing these cards by double clicking, by the way. You can physically drag them, and of course if you're using playing cards you'd physically move them. There's the 2 of spades, so we'll play that. There's a blackjack. We haven't got a queen out yet for it. There's the 4 of hearts. We can play that. We haven't got the 5 of cards out yet, so the 5 of hearts, should I say. There's the red 9. We can play that onto the black 10. Now what we're looking for, what we're hoping for here is a black 8, because then we can move that 7 out of the way and see what's underneath it. So we've got a 6 of clubs which we can play. 7 of clubs isn't out yet. There's a red queen, so we'll play the red queen. We can also play the black jack on top of the red queen, and we can play the 10 onto the jack. Right, so well, let's just move those kings over there just for tidiness. So we're hoping for a 5 of hearts and a 3 of spades. Play again. We've got the 8 of spades, which can go on the 9, and that means we can move the 7. Now we've got another 9 over here, a red 9 this time, which we can't play at the moment, so we're going to be looking for a black 10 eventually to play that onto. Now we've got the 7 of hearts. We haven't got a black 8 to play it onto, so we have to leave that alone. Okay, so we're now going to click that again, and we're back to the beginning. So here's our black queen. We can play her onto the king. There's a black 8 which we can play onto the 9. There's a 3 of spades which we can play to the 2. There's a 5 of spades which is out of sequence. Now we could, okay, here's a decision point. We could play that 5 onto the 6 in anticipation of the 4 showing up, or well, what should we say, the disadvantage of that is that it blocks the 6, and we're only 1 card away from being able to play the 6. So actually I'm going to leave that 5 where it is. There's the 5 of hearts. We can play that. In fact, we can play that 6. Now how do we put the 5 on the 6? that 6 would have been blocked. So that's something to bear in mind. Just cast my eye over, make sure I haven't missed anything. I think we're okay. Right, here's the 4. And there's the 5. That's handy because now we can play 6, 7. We can't, oh, the 8 is actually under there. Now, in this case, because we've got a black 8 there and a black 8 there, we can actually move that 7. In fact, we don't need to move it, but we could move it out of the way onto that 8 to enable us to play the 8. But in fact, the 7 can go straight up onto the top. Now we can play the 8 and the 9. We're up to 7 on the diamonds. There's the 8, so we'll play that. We haven't got the 7 of clubs yet. We haven't got the 7 of hearts yet. We haven't got the 10 of spades yet. So all of those are waiting our attention. But what we can do is move this 8 onto the 9 of hearts, which means we can now play the 9 of diamonds. What we need here is a red jack so that we can play that 10 onto the red jack. There's the red jack as it happens. So now we can play that, and there's the 7 of clubs, and we can play the 7, 8 and 9, and we can also play the 10 of diamonds. And can we do anything else right now? We're looking for the 10, oh, there's the 10 of clubs, we can play that, and we're good. So we'll play another card. There's the 7, which means we can play the 8, the 9 and the 10. And now there's the 10 of spades. And now we can play all the jacks. And we're out. We just have to double click through those. And we've actually won that game. And then a little thing pops up saying new game. That will do for now. So I'll see you in the next one.